Welcome. My name is WriterMaven. I am the host of the Wrestling Receipts podcast. I talk about all things Judgment Day, Dom, Liv, Raquel, Finn, JD, possibly Roxanne, poor Kalito. Um, again, this Raw was 10 steps back. We all came into Monday Night Raw with high expectations, but silly us, I guess. We wanted so much more for Dom and Liv. And it's not even about their losses tonight because a loss is a loss. The losses didn't bug me. It's just the way how everything seems like it screeched to the halt and reversed itself regarding storylines. And now there are more interesting storylines that I can see Liv and Dom in than what's going on with Judgment Day and Finn right now. Finn is too cartoonish. He's too obvious. Everything is so blatant. He's not. Nothing is subtle. I know why I say that Triple H isn't subtle, but this was a storyline that needed some sobriety, and we're not getting it. It's just very in your face. Finn is just grinning like an idiot. It's not very fun. It's not a fun storyline anymore, and a lot of that is due to how batshit long they dragged this shit out. But it's just not. It's not fun. We see Liv and Dom. We see what they can do. Now they're just getting held back. And I was kicking and screaming about Dom being the leader, but at this moment, WriterMaven, your girl, is saying, cut the damn losses and let Liv and Dom be on their own. I can't deal with it anymore. I can't. Not after what I saw at Worlds Collide and at Money in the Bank. I cannot deal with this shit anymore. I can't. Liv and Dom have so much more interesting things they can be doing with other people, other feuds, other promotions. Like we saw what Liv can do with her four segments we had tonight. And then there's a little bit of a hint still with Dom and Seth and that whole Seth faction too. And I'll get into that later. But that is just more interesting. And Dom being involved with AAA, with the luchadors, being a lucha killer, king of luchadors, and all that, there's stuff more interesting there than with this whole judgment thing. So now I'm just saying, cut the losses, end it. I don't care if they get kicked out. Well, actually, I do care if they get kicked out. I'm just gonna say that at this point, Liv and Dawn just need to crash the fuck out. Go after Finn, go after Roxanne, go after Raquel, go after whoever, just crash the fuck out and leave Judgment Day. If they want to keep Finn with this ricketing Judgment Day that is a shell of its former self, because you know it's going to be a shell of its former self. When Dom and Liv leave, then fine. Let them have this shitty faction now, because it's shitty. Because it's just Finn doing the same shit every single week. He's grinning. It's like, and they're just, like I said, it's just so obvious, Finn thinking his plan is going to work. And then you get one little bit where Dom flips the script on him, and he kind of referenced that tonight. But still, like, we need more of Finn getting his face cracked. Like, tonight would have been a nice night to have Finn have his face cracked. Not just with wins with Dom and Liv. I'm just talking about, like, how Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank turned out. Like, and then if they still wanted to do the loss, that would have been fine. But Finn still needs his face cracked. At least a little bit. But we don't get that. It's just Finn grinning like an idiot. That is not being devious. It's not being a demented demon. It's just being you grinning like an idiot. And Judgment Day used to be something fun. Even with the Rhea stuff, even with the Damien stuff, before they started acting like idiots with Rhea and Damien, it was a fun group because they didn't take themselves too seriously and they acted like family and all that. And I liked that. That's why I've been watching Judgment Day for these past 2 years. I've been covering it, 3 now, almost 4. And now everything has just been sucked out. Carlito isn't there to alleviate anything. See, now if Carlito was still there, we would have a little bit of levity in it and some humor. Now he's not there, and I can't deal with this. It's being super serious and no progression at all. We should have had progression. We should have had progression with Dawn. We should have had progression with Liv. So now it's not doing what I thought it was supposed to do, at least with our Judgment Day. So now, like I said, WriterMaven, your girl is saying cut the losses and free Liv and Dom. I can't even justify Dom leading Judgment Day anymore. Just kill it. Let it be done. Much more interesting. I would rather Liv and Dom be a part of Seth's faction than just dealing with this Judgment Day shit right now. And there's still hints there that they might be still working together. But they just need to cut their losses. They're just more interesting. We could have Dom dealing with AAA. We could have Dom having his feuds with AJ, and then Liv could be having all her feuds with EO and now Nikki Bella. This Roxanne feud, I don't even want it no more. Even with the Raquel feud, I don't want it. I actually like Liv and Raquel working together a little bit tonight. But now with the Judgment Day stuff, I don't want to see that feud. I don't want to see it. I know it's coming, but I don't want to see it. Kind of same thing with Dom and Finn. I don't want to see it right now. I'm just aggravated. So we need Crash Out sooner rather than later. I don't know how they can drag this shit all the way to SummerSlam. Something needs to happen now. It needs to either happen at Night of Champions, even at Evolution, or whatever it is. Something needs to happen. It's just still stuck. Like somebody needs to go and fuck up and show their hand, and then we can just get a massive storyline going. Because it looked like we were actually getting some storyline progression, but now it just seems like it just skidded to a halt again, and now we're back to where we started. So yeah, um, yeah, WriterMaven is throwing up the right flag. I can't do it and deal with it anymore. But let's go on and get into Raw. Um, pre-Raw, Dom wished Liv happy birthday, and he actually used words, like actual words, not gifts, not anything like that. It's just like he had actual words. And then here comes the Rhea Stan talking about he used quotation marks in his post. He had to be using Chat GBT or AI. And I'm like, it's quotation marks? There's nothing wrong with using quotation marks in a post. It's unusual, but it's nothing unusual. It's unusual, but it's nothing wrong with it. Like, quit your bitching that Dom used more words than he did with Rhea. Let the shit go. Um, and even if he did use Chat GPT or not, he still wished Liv a happy birthday. Like, make it make sense. Um, let's get into Raw. You see, I'm kind of like out of it. It's just more like I'm still I'm just kind of aggravated, disappointed. I'm all rolled up into one feeling that I can't explain. And it wasn't really it was an interesting Raw, but it wasn't an enjoyable Raw like I wanted it to be. So it's more like a whole bunch of it felt this is more of a disappointing Raw to me. There were still some good things to it, like Liv confronting Nikki, but to me it was just disappointing. So like my excitement factor is down. So I'm sorry if I'm not so enthusiastic with this talking about this right now. Probably when I think about it a little more and figure out a little bit more of the what's going on, I'll probably feel better about it. But like I said, a lot of stuff is being really obvious and in your face where it's not really any clues to dissect, except for a couple of different areas which I'll get into. Um so Raw. We have in a gorilla position, Liv warming up, and then Roxanne comes in and offers to help Liv, help each other out, and Liv refuses. Um Fair. I mean, I don't, there's no point in Liv accepting Roxanne's help. She's driving a wedge. Like, why would she? You know, and that would just make her look more like an idiot if she did readily accept Roxanne's help. Um, Women's qualifier. People saying on the United States feed showed the decibel meter for Rhea, and I don't see that on the international feed because I watch like the UK version of Raw, so I can skip all the ads. So they had the decibel meter again. And I'm like, why y'all doing that? Do we need to know why Rhea's pop is loud? Like you condition the crowd to pop. So why do we need a decibel reader for Rhea? But regardless. Liv and Roxanne work together, and that's why it's a shame that they have to go against each other possibly in the future because they actually work together really nice in this match. Um, Raquel comes out to attack. Now, peep that it has been said that Raquel was waiting to attack Rhea. And waiting, it meaning like she's waiting more to help Roxanne and uses Liv as a cover. So Raquel and Roxanne could still be working together there. She's just using Liv as an excuse to be out there. And it still kind of feels out of left field because you know how I've talked about like um things need to be said on why all of a sudden, or at least we need more hints on why Raquel will work with Roxanne. Like we've seen nothing where um Raquel um should be working with Roxanne. Like if it's about Liv and Dom being together, they should have been using Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank to shore up that connection. Like we should have been seeing Liv and Dom together. We should have been seeing like them maybe talking strategy by themselves and leaving Raquel out of it for a little bit. We should have been seeing stuff like that where it would make sense on why Raquel is working with Roxanne possibly and Finn possibly, but we don't get that. So we need to see more hints. It just feels really way out of left field. So if Raquel does turn on Liv, is anybody going to really be cheering or booing Raquel for turning on Liv? You see where I'm getting at? Like it's gonna fall flat, kind of like how this Finn thing is gonna fall flat. Roxanne and probably JD will probably end up a little bit better off, but with Raquel, so Roxanne steals the pin. I was okay with the loss. Rhea didn't win, and Liv didn't get pinned, so I'm okay with it. Like I can't argue that Liv should have won that, especially with all the other things that she's involved in, like with EO and now Nikki Bella. Like I can't argue that Liv should have won that. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with the loss, and I think the loss actually feeds into like Finn being grinning like an idiot again next week. But you know how it is. But I'm okay with the loss. I'm disappointed, but I'm okay with the loss. And like I said, Rhea didn't win, and that's a bonus. Um, Clubhouse stuff. Dom's warming up, and Finn comes in asking why Dom is only in the tournament, and then Dom says that he put himself in because Finn's Money in the Bank shot didn't work out too well, and I had to laugh at that because that is such a passive take that at Finn, so I had to laugh at that. Roxanne comes in, and Pete Dom's face initially when Roxanne comes in, he is not happy. Like he is not showing like any kind of happiness there or anything like that. He does not look. He's not having it. So as soon as Roxanne, if you go back and watch the segment, Pete Dom's face on that. Finn maneuvers it where Dom had this saying like congratulations when Liv walks in. Liv is super pissed and wants to know why they're celebrating. Liv gets all in Roxanne's face and storms off. Dom chases after her, but he's has a match next. So this, I think they're gonna go with Dom being distracted here because he has the match like right after this, and he was worried about Liv. So he was. I think you can play it up where Dom can say that he was distracted there. Um, and of course you got Finn grinning like an idiot. But did y'all peep JD? Look at JD after Dom leaves. He's looking at Finn, and he is not happy. So again, I think JD is still our ride or die for Dom because he's looking at Finn and he's not happy with how Finn is looking or acting. So just go back and look at that. Um, um, and then men's qualifier. This was an insane qualifier. Dom gets pinned, and I don't like that he's being pinned because he's a champion, but he kicked out of a lot of finishers. So he has grown a lot in where he's taking multiple finishers and that's not ending him like after one go. They had to use a lot with a whole bunch of bullshit to get a pin on Dom. So I'm not happy with the pin, but like I said, I can't be too mad about the pin. You know what I mean? Um Also in this match, my buddy, Hope and Sanity, we have noticed that Dom got people off of Braun Breaker. Now Braun Breaker was talking some shit here regarding Dom here, but that Dom was getting people off of Braun Breaker. Like he kicked him once and then he got him off. And then Sammy mentions the IC championship where Hope and Sanity is saying that it's sounding like the Intercontinental Championship may already be a part of Seth's faction. Because if you go back and listen to Seth's little promo um when he's hyping up Braun Breaker, he's talking about like pretty much taking over. And they get in line or they get run over. That's that kind of line of thinking. So we might still have something there with Seth's faction and Dom. Now and then, especially now that AJ is still kind of mentioning like Chad Gable, and he's mentioning Dom again. So we probably are going to get that AJ Dom feud at Night of Champions. So I was expecting that. I was just hoping that Dom would get into King of the Ring so it can actually be the actual El Rey. But they don't like, for whatever reason, they don't like putting him in these tournaments or whatever. So um we'll probably have Dom and AJ Styles at Night of Champions in a couple of weeks. And then we go into Nikki's promo, and she goes out there talking up other women but Liv. Liv comes out, and goes after Nikki for ignoring her. Like this is pretty much crash out Liv. So I think if anything else happens next week, we're going to just get a full crash out on Liv Morgan. Like she's there. Like Dom can hold back a little bit, but Liv, I think she's at that point where she's just going to go off on anybody. So they go back and forth. Liv finally hits Nikki that's saying that she has a man, which is referring to Nikki's divorce there. And then Nikki asks whose man Dom is, and people are like, did we not just see Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide? Like, Steve's bringing up like Roxanne, and I think that's just so weird. Still, like you're still bringing up Roxanne and Dom, that kind of pairing, and again, it still paints Dom like as this horn dog when we don't get this with other women. Like, if you're going to be going with the horn dog Dom, womanizer Dom, Lothario Dom, like, we need to see other women that he's been flirting with. I don't like how they do this, and then you're saying, like, well, Dom's going to go after this person where it's not part of his character. It's kind of the same way I don't like how the narrative with Michael Cole talking about it, too. Like, well, he could go with Roxanne, and I'm like, did we not just see Money in the Bank? They were just talking about Netflix to Dom at Money in the Bank with Dom and Liv. So we are seeing one thing on TV, but then commentary is saying another, and it's not jiving. And that guess that's part of my frustrating too, because stuff is not lining up like it should be. And then Nikki says to Liv to congratulate Roxanne and her man Dom, and then of course this is where Liv says more shit to Nikki, and when Nikki comes back into the ring to fight her, Liv hits the cleanest Oblivion that I have seen, and Nikki sold that really well. Like that Oblivion was clean. Like I wish other women would sell the Oblivion like that. So, Kenji says, I'm confused. What are you trying to say? Raquel was really trying to say Raquel was really helping Roxanne. She was helping Roxanne. She caused she pretty much takes out Rhea, and then when Kyrie hits Liv, she rolls up Kyrie. So it was a distraction layer. Like I said, it's more to cover for. She's out there supposedly to help Liv, and but it's more helping Roxanne because it's creating all these opportunities for Roxanne. Just kind of go back and look at it for a little bit. It's kind of like how Roxanne came out there to help Liv, and Raquel was out there distracting when normally you would just wait for Liv to take advantage and then argue. Kind of like stuff like that. So that was Raw. As I said, Dom and Liv have more interesting feuds elsewhere. I want to see feuds with Dom with AAA luchadors. I want to see how this thing with AJ was going. I want to see with other. I want to see feuds with other people. And then Liv has feuds with um, Io and Nikki. And then you probably have something with Roxanne and Raquel too, but I'm kind of out of it where I'm not interested at it at this point. Their losses this week was probably just going to lead for Finn to gloat about it next week. And at this point, I just need Liv and Dom to leave Judgment Day soon. Like, I'm done. Um, Other than that, Jay lost his title, and I don't get why. Like, why have Jay win it at WrestleMania only to lose it back to Gunther on a random Raw? And like I said, I feel Gunther is boring. I really don't care about Gunther. Um, and then we had R-Truth talking about how the fans brought him back, and then he cut off his locks. So now he's going on with Ron Killings, which will be interesting, and I want to see how this whole thing with Ron Killings goes going forward. And then and Bailey is back with a nice, lovely shade of purple for her hair. I'm like, Bailey, why couldn't you come back at Money in the Bank? I mean, I guess later is now is better than never, but still, I was expecting you at Money in the Bank, Bailey. And then who else? And then Cena and Punk might have a match in Saudi Arabia for the title, and that is Raw. Like I said, I need Liv and Dom to leave Judgment Day post haste. Um, it's not fun anymore. The whole Judgment Day storyline is not fun anymore. I don't really care about the Finn feud. I don't care about the possible Roxanne or Raquel feud. And Barbie Girl says people say Dom will turn on Liv. Everybody says that. They just expected a repeat of SummerSlam, but it's not going to happen like that. It's always certain people that say that. There's nothing that has indicated that Dom will turn on Liv. Like I said, Triple H is not subtle. We would have had clues by now. And with how things happened at Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank, I still think they're more in it for the long haul, especially with Netflix to them. There's just too much trajectory with them together than without. And so that's just it. And yeah, like I said, the Judgment Day just needs to be over at this point. It's not fun. We need the humor. We don't have the humor. We don't have Carlito to liven things up. Nobody's playing the games anymore. Like, it's a show of his former self. And I know people were saying that it was bad when Rhea and Damian left. No, it was fine. It's just that you have this whole Finn storyline where it should have ended months ago. And it's just sucking the life out of Dom and Liv, and we can't have that anymore.